What is up, Motard fam? It is your boy MotardSteve bringing you another video. And today we're going to be talking about this lovely motorcycle that has brought so much happiness to my life.
I shouldn't have, with the people I shouldn't know. I might as well end still after that. It's the only thing that I fucking do
like that. It's crazy. It's been a year. 1 year. Uno year. Uno anos, or I don't know, damn it. But we're going to talk about the Husky here. Talk about some good, some neutral, and some bad things. Obviously, you guys already know, I love this bike, of course. So we're going to stop at this cemetery here. We're going to jump off the bike. We're going to film some cinematic shots, of course. But I'm also going to stop and talk about some of the bad things with this Husky over a year. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just pull my phone out because I actually have a little text document to make sure I don't miss any points. Alright, so we're going to dive straight into it. Okay, if you don't know a lot about the Husky 701, basically it is a 690cc single cylinder. It is based pretty much exactly on the Duke 690 motor, but with the 2017 model, it's actually based on the second gen Duke motor. So that means, yes, it makes 5 more horsepower than the 2016s. It vibrates less because it has 2 counterbalancer shafts, and because it vibrates less, that's why it's able to make more power, because now you have 1,000 more RPMs of rev range for this bike. And it also kind of increased the service intervals of the bike in general, so you know, it vibrates a lot less, and holy crap, there's an airplane flying over us. Good thing we're not flying the drone that high. You can get it out the door at most places. Your figure may go up or down based on your location, but it costs about 12 grand even to get one of these out the door at a dealership. It's the price point that kind of makes me have some gripes with a couple things. You know, first thing, skid plate. The Supermoto doesn't come with a skid plate, not even the plastic one that the Enduro models come with. It comes with 0 skid plate, which to me is kind of an issue because, I mean, come on, a little plastic skid plate, you can at least throw it on. If I'm paying 12 grand for a bike, can you at least throw a tiny little skid plate on there? Now I know what they might be thinking. In the press releases, usually this is shown on a track where you're not really going to need a skid plate. You're not hopping logs on a track or whatever. This thing, all the press release photos show it dragging knee, putting foot out on a track. So, you know, maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're like, oh, weight reduction, don't put a skid plate on there. So, you know, I guess I'll give them that one. Second thing, the stock handguards. If I'm paying 12 grand for a bike, do not give me a crappy excuse for handguards. It's because of their crap handguard design that I actually broke this lever. This is actually not the original lever. I had to get a whole new one of these because when I looped my bike, after I only had it for about a month, of course, because the way the stock handguard is set up, it's basically like this bar, but cut it off right here. Put a little plastic tab here and just stick a bolt through it. That's pretty much it. There's no bar here. It's like pretty much a plastic fender piece, tiny little bar and a bolt. Well, what happened is that bolt just said, "I'm out of here," like George Carlin says. I'm gone. Rest in peace, Papa Carlin. Just do yourself a favor, get new handguards when you get a 701, and yell at your dealer for selling this with crappy handguards. If you want a good set of handguards, I recommend these Enduro Engineering handguards, simply because they're very easy to install. If you go on Rocky Mountain ATV MC, you can buy these Enduro Engineering debris deflector handguards, whatever they're called. You can get them specifically for neck-in bars. bars, which, as you can see, this is what the Husky runs. So it just bolts straight up. You know, all the clamps and everything are the exact size you need them to be. You don't have to worry about having an adapter that's not going to work. It all just bolts straight on. Third thing, which isn't really a fault for the Husky, but I do think it's kind of a problem considering it's happened to so many people. Maybe Husky just needs to better inform their dealerships or whatever, but when I got my bike, I had literally maybe 60 miles on it, and it was dead. It would not start, it wouldn't crank or anything, and after looking around asking on the forums, I found out that it was because the dealership did not register the ECU. Apparently these ship with some kind of anti-theft or immobilizer on it, to where if you don't register the ECU for, I guess, use or sale, it basically thinks it's in demo mode. It will run for so long and then it just kills the bike. I mean, it won't start, the fuel pump won't prime, nothing. I mean, it's just pretty much your bike's dead until you take it to the dealer and they go, oh yeah, let me unlock it. Or they tell you, oh, there was a kickstand safety switch error. Oh, yeah, sure, okay. Which, by the way, I did not buy it from Palmer Motorsports. I bought it from Foothills Motorsports. I really don't like to bash people, but I prefer Palmer over Foothills. He didn't even sell me the bike, and he's did more to help me with the bike than the place I bought it from. So, Foothills, if you're watching this, step your damn game up. You guys kind of suck. Now the next thing, the stock exhaust. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really? You're saying the stock exhaust is bad? The stock exhausts are bad on everything. That's not what I'm getting at. Usually, yes, the stock exhausts, sure, they may not breathe very well, and they may not sound very good, but the problem I have with the stock exhaust on the Husky is that it heats up like a damn hot plate. Like, literally, you could drive like maybe 5 minutes and then just cook some scrambled eggs on it. It just holds heat so bad, and I don't know why. This thing, on the other hand, I can ride for an hour, stop the bike maybe 2-3 minutes, I can just hold the exhaust. Now, I don't know if that's because of the coating on it or anything, but this thing sheds heat easy. The stock exhaust, though, terrible, terrible. And it weighs like 10 pounds, I think. That exhaust weighs like 4 pounds. With the exhaust, as you can see, my turn signals are off. Now, this is the first bike I've actually took the turn signals off. Usually, I like to have the turn signals on there, but the problem I had is your turn signal sits right about here. So you imagine all this hot exhaust is coming out, hitting that turn signal over time. And now, to be fair, this isn't really just a Husky thing. I've seen this on KTM 450s, etc., etc. For some reason, they want to use big old turn signals right in the path of the exhaust, and over time, it melts a hole in it, and you either have to replace the turn signal housing, or it blows the bulb out, and then you have to replace the bulb just so it can get burnt out again. So I decided to go the route of I'm just taking the turn signals off. In my opinion, it looks better, whatever, but if you're someone that likes to have turn signals and use them, you're probably going to have to frickin' suffer with that and find a way to either put some flush mounts on there, or maybe a way to relocate them. I would imagine it's not too hard to drill another hole and just kind of relocate them somewhere else if that's what you want to do. Maybe build some kind of little bracket. But that is going to be something you have to deal with. Now, this next thing, some people may seem as bad, some people may not, but I'm just going to tell you, if you're into stunt riding and stuff, the 701 currently is not a super good choice. Mainly because, if you guys don't know, like a traditional dirt bike, there's a subframe back here, usually. A metal subframe that attaches to the rest of the frame and all that. You know, it's kind of like a big metal skeleton up under here. Well, with the Husky, it's kind of a good and a bad thing. I'll get to it later, but this whole thing right here, your whole subframe, is a big, high, like tensile strength plastic gas tank. Yes, literally, there is no metal from here back. It's all just gas tank. The reason why that's bad is you can't make foot hoops and stunt pegs. You can't mount it to the subframe because there's no metal bars to mount stuff to. So currently there's nobody that makes a good stunt cage. Now, I've seen one where they bolt it into some inserts in the tank. To me, holding all your weight on basically 2 little bolts threaded into some plastic, it just doesn't sit right with me. So if you're looking to get a 701 to stunt, you may want to look at something like a 501 or a 350. And with that gas tank thing being said, I've seen a couple of them. Everyone says it with a 701. Oh, can't wait until you loop it and it catches on fire. That's less of an issue with the actual gas tank and more of an issue with the gas cap. I've said it so many times and tried to correct so many people. Make sure your gas cap does not leak, because case in point, I looped my bike. You can tell. See that little thing right there? Right here, there's a big scuff up under here where I looped. There's also, as you can see here, and a little bit of, you can't really see it now because I put the case saver on there, but still. But I looped this bike after I had it for a month, and hey, guess what? It didn't catch on fire and explode. You know why? Because my gas cap doesn't leak. See, a lot of people, what happens is their gas cap leaks, they scrape or something hits, causes sparks, and it just catches all of it on fire. All right, now I'm tired of standing here. I want to go ride again, so we're going to keep on talking. So now that we got the bad stuff out of the way, let's talk about the stuff that's really kind of indifferent. You can see it as good or bad. Dude, there's still frozen ice over here. Say what? But stock gearing. Some people may like the stock gearing because they may cruise a lot more highways and stuff like that. This bike, I'm not kidding, this isn't a joke. This bike will hit top gear and stock gearing around 120 to 130. 120, 130 on a Supermoto is absolutely nuts. There's just no reason for that. Now, I'm not knocking them for that. That's awesome. That is truly amazing. But for me personally, I don't need all of that speed. So I put a 15-tooth countershaft sprocket on the front first. That was good. But I was like, you know what? I just want a little bit more, you know, just a little bit more. Not much, just a little bit. So then I threw a 46-tooth rear sprocket on the rear. So that's 15, 46. And by the way, that is the absolute biggest gearing selection you can go with while keeping the stock length chain. You have to flip the axle block adjuster thing around backwards, but it still works. There's no issues. It's like perfect. It's like right where you want it. Let's go see if our wheelie spot is still uncontested. Let's see. They might actually be building out here now. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Maybe not. There was a cable there. I broke it though. See? That's why the Husky's great, man. It breaks into places for you.
Stop right there.
I feel like such a jack now.
Nobody breaks the law on my watch.
Sorry guys, I had a quick pit stop. I realized my helmet was not buckled, and that is not safe, ladies and gentlemen. Do not lead by my example. That's one of the reasons why I changed the gearing up. 3rd and 4th gear wheelies. Easy! And then I guess another neutral thing, it depends on how you look at it, but the weight of the Husky. It weighs like, I think 10, 15 pounds more than a DRZ, so that puts it around like 330-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. I think mine weighs around about 330-ish, considering I chopped a good probably 10 pounds off the bike. You know, even a DRZ, it weighs more than a DRZ, but puts out double the horsepower, so, but more on that later. Alright, so now the good thing. The rear mounted tank. Yes, it's actually a bad thing and a good thing. The good thing about it is, unlike a traditional bike where there's a lot of weight kind of towards the front, you know, because you got your gas tank plus the rider, with the Husky's rear tank, the weight is more evenly distributed, and instead of having all your weight and from your gas all up here on top of the bike, it puts it down low and more towards the back / center of the bike. So really what that means is you end up with a very balanced feeling bike, and speaking of the weight, that also helps it really not feel as heavy as it really is. I am in the salt. Awesome, I am in the salt. So the Husky feels lighter than it really is. That's a good thing. Another thing, which probably the one thing people are wondering, maintenance. Stupid easy for a machine of this power and capability. Stupid easy. I mean, when I first got it, of course, I did a very, very robust and like anal break-in period. That just sounds all kinds of wrong, but that's the only word I could think of. I was very, very anal about changing the oil frequently and what kind of oil I used, and you know, the break-in procedure. Of course, I did not do the easy break-in, guys. The easy break-in is retarded, but more on that in another video. Change the oil in this thing now that I'm using Bel-Ray EXS. I change it every like 2,000 miles. Perfect. This thing loves Bel-Ray EXS. And it's funny because it's the factory recommended oil. But I actually get a really good deal on it on Rocky Mountain ATV. So I'm fine using factory recommended oil. Usually it's like really overpriced crap and garbage, but I've had good luck with the Bel-Ray EXS. It seems like the bike shifts smoother and for longer. We got 7,000 and almost 300 miles on this thing in a year. That is an insane amount of mileage. That is awesome. You know, I checked my valve clearances around 6,200 like you're supposed to. Perfectly inspect. Even with the way I ride this thing and really beat on it and rail on it, perfectly inspect. You know, this thing has been wheelied, accelerated hard, jumped, it's been looped, it's been crashed in the dirt once or twice. This thing is very, very reliable, and I know everyone thinks KTMs and Huskies are giant pieces of crap, but the way I look at it is if you take care of your stuff, it works fine. Perfectly fine. You know, I've had to do very little wrenching on this thing, you know. Change the oil, check the valves every 6,000 miles, put gas in it, and just get up and go. Virtually no oil burning in this. Now, that's something I've seen a lot of people say, is that this has oil burning issues. You know, all big thumpers have these oil burning issues, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to tell you, you know how you avoid that? By properly braking in your engine. But I'm not going to get into the details of that simply because it's just going to take way too long, and that's not what this video is about. So look for a future video on that. Funny thing about that is I had 2 other friends pick up 701s around the exact same time I did. They all have oil burning problems. You want to know the difference? We broke them in differently. Can I turn, please? Would you just look at this? Would you just look at it? Would you just look at this? Full speed, Mr. Zulu! That's another good thing about this thing. The power. The power is insane. 75 horsepower at the crank on tap. And ride-by-wire fuel management system, so literally just dead on with the throttle. With that being said, if you have crazy power, you're going to need brakes to slow down. The front brake is scary. The front brake on this thing is absolutely scary. You got, I believe it's a 320 millimeter big brake disc with a Brembo 4 piston caliber. That's a lot of stopping power. Also, you have ABS, which I should have said this on the neutral thing. One bad thing about the ABS that I don't like is that it constantly switches itself back on after you turn it off when you turn the key off. I wish it would save it. Apparently there's a dongle that you can get to where you can save that, but I kind of feel like that's one of those things, you know, $1,200 bike, that should probably be built in. Now, out of these 7,300 miles, I have did a large variety of riding, guys. I have did everything from commuting back and forth to work, going on trips, hitting back road twisties, of course, the usual dickery of riding around town doing wheelies and all kinds of stuff like that. I've even taken on some really, really long trips, like over to the mountains, which for me, that's about a 3-4 hour trip one way. You know, it's been on at least a couple 8 or 9 hour trips. No issues whatsoever. The 701 is one of those bikes to where there's really not a whole lot that it cannot do amazingly. You know, if you want to get this bike to hooligan around, rip some wheelies on the streets, this is a bike for you. If you want to get this bike to throw a rally kit on it, maybe race Baja, of course you probably want the Enduro instead of the Supermoto, but still, you want to throw like a rally fairing kit on it, use it as a tour or something, you can do it, man. So the big question is, guys, after owning this for a year, do I wish I would have went with something else? If I could choose again, what if I had chose the 501 that I wanted, that I thought I wanted at first? And the answer is no. I love the 701. It's perfect. like I said, that versatility really plays a part in that. You know, I can hooligan around. I could pick a wheelie up right now and rip down the street if I wanted to. I can take it off-road. You know, it's not so absolutely heavy like an adventure bike where it feels like you're just dying when you take it off-road. You can still easily take it off-road. You can commute back and forth to work. You can take on really long trips, which is something I did on my DR650 a lot, and that I can still continue to do on this. Even with the current gearing it has now, it will still cruise 68, 70 easy. So guys, I guess this is where I hand it over to you guys. If there's something I didn't touch on or something that I didn't answer and you just want answered, comment down below. Any questions, concerns that you may have. Woo, the cops is out in full force. I'm really good about getting back to people, so if there's anything you need answered, just ask it down below. That includes anything, performance, price stuff, how did I go about getting one, what's the buying process like, all that stuff. But yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Lets me know I'm doing a good job making these videos. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you'll be notified of all the future videos as well. And if you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to click on any of the little end cards here over on the left side of your screen. Also, while you're at it, click the little button in the top right here just so you can subscribe to my channel. But until next time, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Later.